This video is on tethered cord syndrome in dogs. This is a part 2 video, so for those of you who have not seen my original video on tethered cord syndrome in dogs or have not read my original blog on tethered cord syndrome in dogs and my dog journey, it might be a good idea for you to go back and take a look at that video and read that blog, because that blog and that video really go into detail explaining what tethered cord syndrome is, the issues that my dog had prior to getting diagnosed, and his diagnosis. This video, this part 2 video, and the blog that is attached to this part 2 video is more about answering questions that I have gotten over the past few years since posting that blog and that video, and asking if Journey had had surgery and what life is like today. So, to answer your question, first off, yes, Journey had surgery. Had surgery back in 2024, I believe. And so it's been a couple of years, and I've received a bunch of messages and emails from people all over the globe asking me about how Journey's doing today, because as they stumbled across my blog and my video, many people have reached out telling me how the blog and video had helped them with their dogs in getting a diagnosis, because at that time that I had written the blog and posted the video, this was still a condition that was not very well known and was still almost getting discovered, if you want to say that. And since then, it has gotten a lot of traction, and many veterinarians and many veterinary neurologists have really become aware of this condition. And so since that, a lot has changed, and I thought it might be a good idea to post a part 2 blog and part 2 video showing you what Journey looks like today since surgery, so post-op, and what life is like. So this blog is not going to explain, or this video, excuse me, is not going to explain what tethered cord syndrome is and all the symptoms. That was something that was already posted in my part 1 blog and the original video that I had posted. So this video is more just to showcase what Journey's life is like today, and showcase what Journey is like today after surgery and the successful surgery that he had. So that way you can see what life is like for him today. And so that way you can get some answers to the questions on how is Journey doing. So that is something that you'll be able to see in this video. Obviously, each dog is an individual, and with that means that not every dog is going to have necessarily the same outcome as Journey. Some might do better, some may not do as well. So I just want to say that up front. I don't want you to see this video and say, oh, well, Anthony's dog is doing really well, so that must mean that every dog is going to do well. Obviously, every dog is an individual, and the reality is that every dog's symptoms are very different. So some dogs that have tethered cord syndrome may have worse symptoms than what Journey had, and some may not be as severe. So some might be more severe and some may be less, some might be about the same. So obviously the outcome for surgery is going to be different. So this video is just here to showcase what life is like today and how he's doing after surgery. So let's jump into it. So before we get started, my name is Anthony DeMarinis. I'm a dog trainer based out of Long Island, New York, and my business is DeMarinis Dog Training and Behavior. And if you want to follow me on social media or contact me, find my website, it is demarinisdogtraining.com. So here Journey has just arrived home from the hospital. It's moments after we just arrived back, and I took him out of the car, and obviously the first thing we did after that 3 to 4 hour car ride back home was to bring him to the bathroom. So you can see that he's got his help him up harness on. That's how I had to pick him up to go up and down the stairs because he couldn't do stairs at that time after surgery. And you can see he's a little wobbly, a little unstable. He is still medicated for the pain, but comfortable enough to still kick after he has gone to the bathroom. You can see his tail is low and kind of curved. This is partially because he's just not fully recovered and comfortable yet. And here's just another little clip.
Hey, baby.
You can kind of see it in his face. Still a little medicated. Even the way he walks, he stumbles a little. He takes like a weird gait as he walks. You could see it's a weird little movement. So after we arrived home and he went to the bathroom, the first thing I did was I just brought him inside and brought him into my room where I set up a playpen with a carpet or a rug. And I just sat down in there and gave him a bone to start chewing and keep himself occupied and busy just to kind of get comfortable back at home. And that's just the little incision. I say little, meanwhile. It was probably about an 8-inch incision, maybe even a little bit bigger. And you could see that he's actually, considering this was a pretty serious surgery, he's quite comfortable. And there's a little clip of my dog Quest chewing on her bone. This was a few days after he had returned home. I allowed her to go in the room and just kind of keep herself occupied as long as she wasn't bothering him. And so they're both just in there chewing, minding their business, coexisting calmly. And here's just a little clip of both of them, again, in the space. Journey's taking a nap. And I'm just posting this really so that way you guys can see why I mentioned in the blog the importance of teaching dogs to coexist together between gates, in a crate, separation, etc. This is 3 days after being home. This is just him out in the yard. I'm bringing him to the bathroom. He's not as medicated as he was at the hospital. He's still on pain meds and everything like that, but he's not as medicated. You could see his gait, the way he walks, is a little bit smoother than the video you saw in the very beginning.
Come on.
And then this is 5 days later, 5 days after we returned home. And he is just in another playpen setup that I have in my kitchen space. There's Quest again, just sleeping on a random dog bed. And he's napping over there. I put a little donut on him just because he was starting to try and scratch or nibble and lick the area. This is 5 days later as well. Here I am just doing a little cold laser treatment on the outside area around the incision, not actually above the incision, but out on the sides. This was one of the things that was recommended to do after surgery along with physical therapy. And then here we are again, outside, going to the bathroom, doing his kicks, getting a bigger stride and kick out than the first day. This is 6 days later, so 6 days after we returned home. And again, you can see his gait and movement is more stable and smooth than it was that first day.
You cute. Come on.
For those of you who saw my part 1 video, you may recall that he would sometimes sit like this. This was one of the signs or symptoms that he had prior to surgery, and it's obviously something that he still occasionally deals with. So this was something that he started to do about 6 days after he returned home. So I just wanted to show you guys that the way he sits occasionally when he's uncomfortable or needs to stretch his back still did occur, even after surgery, and still occurs to this day, 2 years post-op.
Come on, June.
So this is day 8 of being home. I took his harness off when I took him outside just so he could be a little bit more free and not be as bothered by the harness, because it can be a little awkward and get in the way a little bit. And since he was starting to feel better and started getting a little bit more aware of everything, he started to seem a little bit more bothered by the harness itself. So I decided to start taking it off when I was allowing him to walk around in the backyard. But I still have a lead on him of some kind, just to have some control so he's not running around, because he wasn't allowed to actually run and zoom in the yard. So I had to keep him on leash to just make sure he didn't run or zoom around. But you could see he's way more comfortable in his body and his own skin. Even his tail is upwards a little bit more. He's moving way more smooth than he's been the last few days. So you can tell the difference between day 8 versus day 1. And then here he is, home for 10 days, being a little silly, goofing off, flirting with Quest, whatever he's doing. So you can tell he's way more comfortable.
Enough.
So I'm showing you this clip here because in my
coming
blog
here.
I mentioned again about teaching dogs to be independent from one another and learning certain skills if you have multiple dogs in your home, because these things can become easier or make your life easier when a dog has a surgery, especially a serious surgery. A lot of people get multiple dogs and they just live together forever until one of the dogs passes, etc. And that's what causes, I find that's what causes a lot of dogs to develop different types of anxieties or behavior issues. And I strongly encourage my clients to do independent or one-on-one time with each of their dogs. Not all the time, but enough. That way it helps teach the dogs skills and develop a relationship between you and that one dog, as opposed to always being a group together all the time that's never separated. Whereas for me, I want my dogs to learn to live not just together, but also separately. That way, if they need to have surgery, or I maybe need to bring one into the vet or take one to work, or whatever the case is, they're both comfortable regardless. And so they can be comfortable if one is home by themselves while the other one is out with me, or one is wherever they need to be and the other one's home with myself. So I do personally believe that dogs need to be taught independence, and that starts a lot of times at home with the owner. Again, a lot of people just allow their dogs to just live together and that's it. And then when it comes time to have surgery or something of that nature, it becomes stressful because now one of the dogs is missing, and the other dog or dogs in the home may become stressed because they are seeking out that other dog, or they utilize that dog as a confidence builder and a crutch for them through daily life. And when one of them is missing, it causes havoc or stress or chaos or anxiety or whatever it causes each of them to be. And that's why I really do believe teaching dogs independently and teaching them to be independent and having alone time both with and without you and with and without the other dogs in your home is super important. And so just going back to the video real quick. In that video clip, I am saying enough, which just means to stop what you're doing. That's the word that I use for Quest. So I saw that she was getting ready to play with Journey, and I didn't want him playing. I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want them zooming around the house. So I had asked her enough. And for her, that means to move away from whatever it is that she's doing and stop what you're doing.
I would also like to extend my personal apologies unto you.
Enough. Hello, little nugget. Oh, you're coming up here.
What? I hear that you have allowed Jesus.
Here we are 3 weeks post-op, and once he's done sniffing here, you'll see him moving around, and you'll be able to see that he's moving even better than he was over the course of the past few weeks. At least to me, I notice it because he's my dog, so it's easy enough for me to notice those things. And then here is 1 month post-op. We started doing physical therapy. This was our first session that we did with Dr. Debbie Taraka from the Wizard of Paws in Connecticut. We were doing virtual lessons. That way I didn't have to go there. I had the equipment already from doing PT with Journey over the past few years. So here are just some little clips of us doing some stuff over the computer. She was just coaching us, and I was working with him a little bit just to learn what exercises to do every night. And here we are 4 months after surgery. So this was actually after his 4-month post-op recheck appointment. And the doctor gave us the green light to go ahead and have some off-leash time and let him start running around. He wasn't allowed to do agility yet, but he was able to start having free time to run around off-leash a little bit for sort of short increments. I would say, if I recall, it was maybe like 15 minutes, 20 minutes at the most. And so this was the first time that he was off-leash. And you could see someone is really happy here. And this is what I was happy to see, honestly, is that he was still himself, still loving to be off-leash and running around and super happy. Because ultimately that's what I want for my dogs. And the whole point of me deciding to pull the trigger on this surgery was to hopefully give him a better quality of life on a daily basis. And I'm very lucky that he is living that way today, even 2 years after surgery. And then I'm just going to show you a few other clips of Journey off-leash. The next few clips here are a couple days after we were given permission for off-leash time. So I just wanted to show you what some of that looked like. now 5 days after being given the green light for off-leash time, these are just some clips of some nose work sessions that we had together, and you could see he's eager, he was pulling, he's ready to work and ready to have a good time.
I just left all those there. Yes. That's very nice. I think that's very nice.
And then here's Journey 4 months post-op at his first sheep herding lesson. So we took a road trip after our 4-month recheck with Dr. Parsley. So on my trip up to Massachusetts to the recheck, we stayed in Massachusetts for about 3 days, and then we went to the Finger Lake region in upstate New York for about another 5 days or so. So that's why you're seeing all these activities between off-leash and nose work and sheep herding, and you'll see some swimming in a second.
Good boy. Yeah, Jern. Good boy. Hey, big boy. Oh, get it. Nessie! Doo-doo. Doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
And now fast forwarding to 6 months, this is what he looked like. Here I am giving him a little scratch, a little massage in the area where the surgery was. He always he always liked his little butt scratches. And then here's just a clip of us hiking in the woods and playing fetch together. This was also 6 months post-op. I just wanted to show you what that looked like. Some of his movement, and also just the joy that he has.
Whoa, so strong. Ooh, so strong. A little baby. Little baby. Ooh, little baby Jane. Oh.
And then here's Journey 6 months post-op at another sheep herding lesson. And I really enjoyed just watching this because
That was better.
it shows how much he's really recovered and how free moving he is.
Good dog. That red one was about to run into you.
And this is the first time back at agility since his surgery, so this is 8 months post-op. We were only allowed to do some flat work, meaning that we were only allowed to do some low bar jumps, the tunnel, and about 6 weaves. That was it. Nothing strenuous or crazy that would push him. We were not allowed to do the A-frame, the seesaw, the dog walk, as per Dr. Parsley and Dr. Taraka's recommendations. So we had to hold off and just slowly get him back and ease him back into things. So just doing some basic flat work to help condition his body and get him back in the rhythm a little bit. And the reason that this was 8 months post-op compared to the other activities and sports that we participate in is because this was or is the most strenuous on his body. So that's why we waited until 8 months to decide to start up very slowly again. And then here we are 9 months post-op, just a little clip of us hiking in the woods in the winter. And then here we are 9 months post-op at a sheep herding lesson. He's still moving around really nicely and feels really good.
Good. Then when you ask him for it this time, good, be ready to support him again. Perfect. Perfect.
And then here we are 10 months post-op, just practicing some short weave entries.
Yeah, perfect. Nice.
And here he is at a year post-op. This is at a nosework class. And I'm just showing you this video and all the other videos before this, just so that way you can see what he looks like physically, how he moves, and that way you can see that, at least for my dog, he's still very happy and joyous, enjoys the activities and the sports that we do together. And you can see that motivation and joy throughout these videos, at least in my opinion. So that's why I'm just sharing all this stuff with you.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, all my yeses. Okay.
And then here we are 2 years post-op, just doing some barn chores and trying to build his confidence with some tight spaces inside the barn with the sheep.
And then give him that come by. Stick your stick in there so that he goes, yeah, that's nice.
Steady, steady. Walk up.
Nice.
Steady. Walk. Walk. There.
Good boy. Nicely done.
And here's Journey and Quest just running around in the woods over the winter. This is, again, 2 years post-op.
200.
And then here we are this past spring. So spring 2026, so it's a little over 2 years post-op. And this is him just working the sheep from a further distance.
Good. Steady. Away. Away. Hey, hey. Good. Anymore.
And then here he is this past summer, 2026. So this is 2.5 years post-op, and he's just here playing with my friend's dog. And this is the last clip. This was also this summer, summer 2026, 2.5 years post-op. You can see he's moving around, having the time of his life with his little tuggy ball. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. I hope this video was helpful and encouraging for you and your dog. And I wish you guys the best of luck if you are on your own journey trying to figure out how to help your dog with tethered cord syndrome.